Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning back in. I apologize for missing episode 6. I was a little bit sick, but now that I'm back, let's just jump right into everything because sick or not, I'm doing better now, at least a little bit better. And episode 7 of Alien Earth, and the title of it was Emergence, was explosive. It was everything that everybody, that it was that powder keg episode that pushed every single pressure point possible that we've been waiting for, and it was exciting. And it was, to think it was only 45 minutes at that too, because they gave us everything in this episode. But let's start with this episode. Basically picks up right after episode 6 ends, and since I didn't do episode 6, I'll cover it here just a little bit. Episode 6 basically ends with Smiley, and the Xeno egg is on Arthur's face. He completed his mission for Morrow, basically. All while Kersh watches from the airplane on the way back from the meeting with Wayland Yutani, the little mediation that they had, and that Boy Cavalier is excited about because he thinks he's won, even though it's really going to come back to bite him in the ass, because Yutani's daughter or granddaughter basically takes the shackles off of Morrow and gives him all the resources that he wants to basically kill Boy Cavalier, because that's what I guess now his new mission is, on top of trying to get the Xenos, because it seems like that's the only aliens that Wayland Yutani care about are the Xenomorphs. So why that is, I'm not really sure, but even though they capture multiple species, they really care about the Xenos. And we all love the Xenos, so I understand it. And like I said, Kersh watched everything happen. And let's just dive right into this, because it opens basically with slightly traumatized. He's in his room now. He got Arthur's body back to his room so that he can try to hatch a plan to get him out of the facility. So Smee comes banging on the door or whatnot, and, let me in. And, Smiley lets him in eventually. And, as soon as he walks in the room, he sees an arm hanging from under the bed. So not like a kid could really hide a body. So we have to keep that in mind, that these synthetics are actually kids. And just like not hiding a body correctly under your bed is basically kid, like you didn't cover all your details. So basically from there, Smiley basically tricks Smee into helping him get the body off the out of the facility to the beach where he's supposed to meet Mara, all while he's wasting time with this xenomorph on his face. Then he tries to give him water for whatever. He's a kid, so kids do dumb stuff. But like I said, he tricks me into helping him take him out the facility. He denies it at first, like, nah, I ain't doing that. But then this is my best friend or brother, however they look at each other. So he does help him get Arthur's body, start taking him out of the facility. So on their way out of the facility, and we'll come back to some of the other details in a minute. On their way out of the facility, Kersh walks up on them. Hey, what are you guys doing? And, they're scared or whatever. So he turns around and look at Arthur with the face hugger on his face. And he's just like, if you're trying to get out of here, why are you using the basically this hallway? The private elevator is the fastest way out of here. So clearly they're wondering, like, why the hell is Kersh helping us? Kersh has a plan. I've said it before. I have no clue what it is. I'll get into some of my theories at the end of this, but Kersh has a plan. But he lets those two go out of the facility while he basically is going off to handle some other business. So we start to see Wendy's turn, in my opinion. After she saw Isaac's death, she's starting to, also a child, she's starting to, get messed up in her emotions. Nibs had her memory erased, and she's upset about that. And so she has a lot of conflicting emotions right now, and it's starting to show, even though she's a robot, but she has a human consciousness and a child at that. And I'll just keep emphasizing that because these kids do a lot of kid-like things in this episode that we all know, if we were, I guess, 8 to 12 or however old they were, that we probably wouldn't be able to make a lot of these quote unquote adult decisions if we were put into a robotic body. So let's just be real. We would probably make a lot of these dumb decisions that they make too. So with that being said, she basically goes, after her brother lets her know basically that they can't be tracked, she goes full autonomy, basically autonomous, and basically, hey, let me play with the screen. And she unlocks the Xeno cage, and obviously, you know what Xeno's going to do once he found out he's free, kills everybody in the lab and all that stuff like that. But her brother doesn't know this yet. Um, you know, she just unleashed it. She let him go. If you've seen Alien Resurrection, she's really starting to display a lot of characteristics. And maybe they use Ripley 8 as a character base for Wendy because she does a lot of the same things, in my opinion, that Ripley 8 kind of did in Alien Resurrection, even though in the timeline that's hasn't happened yet technically. So Alien 1 hasn't even happened yet. So there's no Ripley in this world at this point. But they definitely, through their research, obviously, kind of base Wendy's character on Ripley 8, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that. I could be wrong about that. Maybe think it's another character, but she's more Ripley 8 than David or anybody else, in my opinion. But moving right along. Let's touch on Hermit's escape plan that was basically a trap because he wants to get Wendy out, and that's the thing that he's been wanting. That's basically been his storyline. Let me get my sister out of here. As a scientist, he hasn't tried to learn anything, or maybe they haven't shown it, but it just seems like his whole plan since he's been there is to just basically get Wendy out and go be a family and be with his sister and stuff like that. But even he starts to have some cracks in this episode because Wendy started doing some things that he is not okay with. And as we see as part of his escape plan, where he basically kills Nibs with the electro gun thing and, you know, saves one of the people that he was in the military with. You know, Wendy's pissed off. She, I think, and basically what led him to that decision, basically, I think after Wendy ordered the xenomorph to kill the Morrow's crew in the woods, and I'll get that in a second as well. When Wendy ordered the xenomorph to do that, and in front of him, I think it kind of broke him a little bit because it's like after he picked the gun up, he just kept looking at him and like, you know, that basically the thing that they were going for in that is what has my sister become, or maybe this isn't really my sister, like maybe this is something else. So you even we can't read his thoughts obviously or what they, but that's just kind of how it came off to me. Like after this moment he's basically like, shit, like maybe this isn't my sister, maybe this really is a robot or whatever the case may be. And you know, that's basically the theme of this episode as well, is just betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. Everybody feels betrayed in some type of way. uh you know, Hermit betrays his sister Wendy by killing Nibs, and you know, he covered her mouth up when she tried to get the xenomorph basically to come kill all the other guards. You have obviously slightly, you know, with the face hugger and Arthur, that was pretty messed up. Uh, and I'm pretty sure his family's dead because when he asked Morrow about it, when Morrow arrived at the island with the troops, because you know, I guess that was Target 1. I'm not sure what Target 2 was. I'm probably the other xenomorph. But after Morrow and his troops get to the island, after meeting Smiley and Smee, I mean, sorry, Slightly and Smee with the corpse at this point of Arthur's body. And yes, Arthur is a corpse at this point because, you know, the face hugger, you know, laid his egg, fell off, and, you know, he came back conscious and he didn't remember anything. And then right as he starts remembering everything, and basically busts out his chest and runs into the woods. But Kersh set this, obviously because he's been watching and listening the entire time, you know, as Morrow got to the island and got with Slightly and Smee, you know, he took them back with them to go inside the facility. It was basically one big trap to capture Morrow and his troops. They did that successfully. Kersh laid this plan. And this is why I said Kersh has a plan. I'm not sure what his plan is, but if I had to guess, I would say it's to take over. Maybe he, especially with Boy Cavalier's focus now shifting to the eyeball spider. And we'll touch on that last because that's just creepy. But Kersh has some plan for himself and obviously the child synthetics because he protects them. He he bent the truth when he was filling in a Boy Cavalier on what happened in the lab and stuff like that. Like he was like, oh, it wasn't an accident that, you know, they just got out. It was, you know, Isaac being careless, even though he left out the part where slightly, you know, open up the egg cage and put a face hugger on Arthur because he saw all of that happen. But and then he asked him at one point to go back and watch the footage or whatnot, which he clearly chose what footage he wanted Boy Cavalier to see. So Kersh has a plan, and Kersh is probably, I don't know if he's bad guy, good guy, or somewhere in between, like an anti-hero, but he seems to be in complete control of this situation, even though it may seem like there isn't much control or that he doesn't have a lot of control because the Boy Cavalier is like the main dude. Kersh is in complete control of this situation because every point minus Wendy, and I don't think he could read that situation very well, but minus Wendy, he has plotted every step out and executed it. And he probably has something planned for Wendy because he's watched her very closely with the xenomorph or whatever the case may be. So he knows that she has this bond and connection to it because he's watched it grow. So watch Kersh. Watch Kersh. But the eyeball alien and Boy Cavalier and his obsession. He finds out that he could really Kersh showed him the video of the eyeball alien inside the sheep or lamb, hitting the glass when the other synth was inside the cage with the flying stinger things, like little whatever they were supposed to be, the bee aliens. So he wants to talk to it. So he shows it the pi sign and was like, any advanced species would know what this is. So it starts tapping, it's about saying what the next numbers or whatever the case is, and he is elated. He is near orgasm. I'm telling you, like he is like, and then he hatches this big idea to like, oh, if only this thing could talk. What if we put it in a human or some low grade person, which is really messed up a way to think about people? Like, oh, let's put it in somebody that has low intelligence so we could see how smart is. That way we could tell the difference. Because if we put it in somebody smart, then we're not going to know if it's really smart or not because we put it in somebody smart. But if we put it in somebody dumb, wait, I have the perfect person. Then, basically cut scene or whatever the case may be. Who do you think that person is? I'm not sure. I'm not real sure. I will assume that it's the dead Sim. But that's the only thing that makes sense because he asked Kersh if you could basically rehabilitate it in so many words. But I think that's the prime prospect for who to put the eye in next. But if not that, then maybe Hermit. Maybe Hermit kind of makes sense because he's not like a genius, but that's somebody that Boy Cavalier would consider low intelligence. So either Isaac or not Isaac, whatever, the dead Sim or Hermit. That's what I'm going with. I think it'll be one of those two. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about who the eyeball spider will go into next because it's clearly going to be planted inside somebody. Probably going to just slide the person inside the thing with it, and then it's going to exit the lamb's body and go do his thing. More than likely, it's going to be that simple. Next week's finale is set up to be a very explosive episode. I would not miss it because I'm going to try to drop a review that same night, maybe live, because that episode, if it follows this the way that I think and hope that it will, it's going to be even more explosive, and it's going to obviously leave us with some breadcrumbs for a season 2 because there is going to be a season 2. And damn, I hope we don't have to wait long for that. Hopefully not a full year, maybe 6 months, because this is still an expensive set design. I'm sure there's a lot of sets in this or whatnot. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not privy to that information, so I'm not sure how much this costs. But I'm sure it was a pretty penny though. This didn't seem cheap to me. So they probably have a lot of this stuff still together. And obviously they're making other Alien and Predator projects and stuff like that. So hopefully 6 months, maybe by the beginning of the year we have a season 2. Hopefully not by the summertime, but we'll see. But can empathy be weaponized? Because that seems like what's happening with Wendy. Whatever empathy or whatever she had is quickly turned into a monster. I'm not sure what Wendy is becoming because she is interesting. She's a sad little girl who just wants to help, it seems. She wants to keep her family together to whatever she views as family. But she also is acting like a child when, oh my God, I didn't get my way, so let me unleash this dangerous ass animal or alien on everybody who can't defend themselves. And this is just a cleaning crew cleaning up the lab. Like, you kill these people for no reason. That's messed up, Wendy. Clearly Wendy's turned into some type of monster because where she was once probably viewed as the good guy to all of us, she is definitely not your straightforward good person anymore. That's gone. So, but what does true family or loyalty look like in a world like this where they're run by five powerful corporations and a bunch of ruthless people, and apparently we have, robots and cyborgs on Earth as well. So, what is family? What is loyalty? Because if five powerful corporations are in control of the world, I'm sure loyalty looks a lot like respect and money. So, tell me if I'm wrong. We are going to wrap with this. Oh, let me go to my chaos checklist first. It'll be quick because it's more of a notes version this time. um, Arthur's classic chest burst of death. We were, like all the classics. Wendy unleashes the xenomorph, messed up, but it killed a lot of people, and we enjoyed that in these type of shows and movies. Uh, Nibs, before she died, she took some people out on her way with her. She did her thing. You know, Joe, shooting her and killing her, basically at best fractured him and Wendy's relationship, if not completely ended it. But it's definitely fractured at this point. If Joe and Wendy go their separate ways, I would not be surprised if Joe is one of the people to die. I'm going to ask you guys a question about that in a few seconds. But the eyeball alien, recites the digits of pi and so on and so forth. But going back to the whole Joe thing and, Boy Cavalier and others, who do you guys want to see make it to a season 2? And who do you actually think is going to make it? Who do I want to see make it? Definitely Kersh. I would love to see Boy Cavalier, but I think he's going to be out of here. Or maybe not, because he might be the thing or the person that they're using to bring in the other figures. So he may have to be alive for like Wayland Utani. We still haven't met the other four companies yet, because I don't think Prodigy is one of them. It may be, but it doesn't seem like Prodigy is recognized as one of the Power Five. I think you need Boy Cavalier to introduce the other powerful people, but Morrow, I think his story is over. It'll probably be a graceful ending for him because he's probably going to go out in a blaze of glory. But I think Morrow's journey is over. I think Joe's journey is over. Boy Cavalier 50-50, but I really think you need him to introduce the other powerful people unless they come in this finale in some type of way. Then that'll be a little bit different. We could probably see Boy Cavalier. Nibs is gone. Who's left? Arthur's gone. Smiley and Smee, they're on punishment, so they're probably okay. Wendy, even though she's the main character and she's titled as one of the main characters, this show could survive without her. 50-50 on Wendy if she makes it or not. She doesn't have to. Well, she'll make it because she's the connection to the Xenos, and that's obviously going to be explored more throughout the series as it goes for more seasons. And that something with her obviously could lead into a different movie or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I'll take that back. She'll probably make it. Wendy's probably fine. But who do you guys think is going to make it, and who do you guys want to see make it or not make it? What shocked you the most in this episode? Me, what shocked me the most is that it started out with a bang, ended with a bang, and it was a fast 45 minutes because it was action packed. I enjoyed it. I really loved this episode, and it was a perfect episode to set up a season finale. I kind of wish this would have been the finale, even though it would have been a cliffhanger, but this is a banger. And that's how you know, in a season. And obviously, this show, since it started, has progressively gotten faster, in my opinion. A lot of action. It hasn't really been as slow as I thought it was going to be. It's actually pretty paced and so it's always moving, even in the even in the scenes that have a lot of dialogue, the pace and the the show is always moving, in my opinion. So I really enjoy that. But hey, with all the loyalties basically gone, we're probably going to get a human eyeball creature again in the next episode. Uh, we got two xenomorphs. Well, one loose, one Kersh has. We got two xenomorphs. We got Morrow locked up with his crew. Wendy just got captured. Maybe we'll see how if she may. They'll just shoot her down if she starts killing people. They don't want to, but and she, obviously, Bud Cavalier will be really pissed off if something happened to Wendy because that's really the only one he cares about. But it's probably because of her connection to the Xenos. But next week is going to be an interesting finale. And I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. There's going to be more content coming out soon now that I'm better. And stay tuned for more. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in with me. Thank you for staying with me. Sorry for missing a week and a half or maybe close to 2 weeks, but I am back now and I'm going to come with more. And that is my plan. And thank you for stopping by and listening again. Have a good night.